सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे। रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमू रामाय तस्मै नमः। रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Hari Om everyone. Greetings on Sankranti and Pongal and several other names of the festival that are celebrated in different parts of India today. Very auspicious day where we pray to Bhagwan that just like the day keeps getting longer, may our sadhana also get more intensity. And today it's very auspicious to do Gayatri Japa. So different people celebrate in different ways, but Gayatri Havana is something very auspicious. If not Havana, at least chanting of Gayatri Mantra 108 times. So in Drigdrishya Viveka, we have been seeing the topic of meditation. So Vidyaranya Swamiji introduced this topic to us, where he said, what should we do in meditation? Upeksha nama rupe dve Satchidananda tatparaha. That knowledge which we have gained in Shravanam, that I am this Satchidananda Brahma, being able to benefit from this knowledge is what we are aiming for here. When situations come in our life, having this ability to let go of that situation on the strength of knowledge, that this situation or whatever experience I'm going through is appearing as a thought and I am not this thought. That is called Upeksha Nama Rupe Dve. Because the sadhaka has come to realize, I have tried so much trying to just stay at Nama Rupa level, trying to work at Nama Rupa level. But it doesn't give a permanent solution. So this meditation practice helps us if we are able to take certain time in a day to do this meditation. Our response during the other times of the day, that will be very different. It should be very different, and it should be not impulsive. Why? Not because we have done meditation practice just by itself. We have dwelt upon the teaching while doing this meditation practice. So that practice, along with reflection on the teaching, that should help us in our vyavahara. That I am this unaffected consciousness, and sometimes the situation is as we want, sometimes it is not as we want. In both the cases, the sadhaka is able to remain unshaken. Guruna api dukkhena na vichalyate. Even if there is a mountain of sorrow that comes upon the sadhaka, he is not shaken because of his rooting in his absolute nature, which is Satchidananda. Then we saw this example, which we should keep in mind. It's very simple example, But whenever we get confused about, oh, what is this shifting of attention from nama rupa, this example will help clarify that. What we are seeing is one name and form, but it is not independent of the substratum. So substratum here is that stone, which alone is appearing as in a specific name and form. So in the same way, this world is appearing in consciousness, which is our own true nature. All these thoughts, which are also part of the world, they are also appearing in consciousness alone. This is what we had seen in the last class. Now we will move on to the elaboration of this. Okay, in this shloka and following couple of shlokas until 29th verse, Vidyananda Swamiji gives more guidance on how to do this meditation. We'll chant 23. Savikalpo nirvikalpaha, savikalpo nirvikalpaha, samadhir dvividho hrudi, samadhir dvividho hrudi, drushya shabdanuvedhena, drushya shabdanuvedhena, savikalpah punaradvidha, savikalpah punaradvidha. सविकल्पो निर्विकल्पः समाधिर्द्विविधो हृदि दृश्यशब्दानुवेधेन सविकल्पः पुनर्द्विधा. Some reading you will find drishya shabdanuvidhena. It means the same thing. So he says, now I spoke about samadhi inside and samadhi outside in the previous verse. And he said, always we should be in samadhi. That he is going to elaborate. So first he says, there are two types of samadhi abhyasa. One is called as savikalpa, another is called as nirvikalpa. Okay, these ones. Savikalpaha and nirvikalpaha. But here we should remember, Atma is not savikalpa or nirvikalpa. The sakshi, what we saw in the 5th verse, 1 to 5 verses, they elaborated nature of sakshi, our own true nature. So that sakshi by itself is not savikalpa or nirvikalpa. It is a practice that we are doing. The sadhaka, how prepared that sadhaka is, how much that practice has been done, that decides whether we end up doing savikalpa or nirvikalpa. So he says, and he will elaborate. So we'll just go with the shloka right now. Savikalpo nirvikalpaha samadhir dvivido hrudi. There are two types of samadhi which we can practice within. And this savikalpa, he says, has two types. One is called as drishyanuviddha, another is called as shabdanuviddha. We will elaborate later. Drushya shabdanuvedhena savikalpaha punardvidha. Drushya anuvidya samadhi means taking support of drushya to shift attention to drashta. Shabda anuvidya means taking support of words to stay in that drashta. Because sometimes, even if sakshi is all the time present, available to us, any place, any time, but yet our attention is not there on sakshi. It is either on objects outside, not even on thoughts. So here Vidyananda Swamiji will help us turn our attention from objects to thoughts to sakshi with that first practice, drishyanuvidya samadhi. Shabdanuvidya is having reached this sakshi, understanding the glory of sakshi. Okay, so that is literal meaning of the shloka. Graphically, it just helps us to make the chart, how this is forming. But I hope the idea was clear. So samadhi abhyasa, 3 shlokas I will say on practicing inside. And 3 shlokas outside means when eyes are open, when we are transacting in the world, how can we still practice samadhi abhyasa? So that also he will say in 3 shlokas later. Savikalpo nirvikalpaha samadhir dvivido hrudi. So there is savikalpa samadhi and there is nirvikalpa samadhi. So as I just mentioned, Atma is not savikalpa or nirvikalpa. What we mean by Savikalpa is that there is this triad of dhyata, the one who is meditating, dhyana, the practice of meditation, and dhyeya, which is the object of meditation. So I am there, the meditator is sitting in meditation. Meditator is aware of the fact that I am doing this practice of meditation. And my goal of meditation is that consciousness, which is my own true nature. Okay, so this division, Triputi it is called, between dhyata, dhyana, and dhyeya, that is what is called as Savikalpa Samadhi. Vikalpa means this division. Savikalpa means with that division. Vikalpena saha savikalpaha. What happens after sufficient practice of this Savikalpa Samadhi is that same sadhaka does not even perceive the fact that he is in Samadhi, nor this practice of meditation is going on. So that takes us to the next one, which is called as Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where triad is not perceived. It is very well there. Dhyata is also there, Dhyanam is also there, Dhyeya is also there. So I hope you are comfortable with the words now. This is Dhyata, this is Dhyanam, and Dhyeya. All three are there, but because of this practice of meditation, this sadhaka is able to let go of, or this perception itself is not there that I am meditating. This experience is not always in meditation only, so it is even found in our day-to-day life. Sometimes when you listen to beautiful music, something that we really like, at that time, this fact that we are listening to this music is also forgotten. Just attention is only on that music which we love. Nama Sankirtanam, sometimes when we get taste for Nama Sankirtanam, forgetfulness of that we are doing Nama Sankirtanam or we are listening to Nama Sankirtanam, that also goes away. What remains is only Bhagwan's name. So it is said Nirvikalpa Samadhi can happen in any place. But what we are interested in is Nirvikalpa Samadhi on Chaitanya. In this practice of meditation is so thorough that this sadhaka is able to effortlessly glide into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. More details we will see later. This is just classification of what Vidyaranya Swamiji has given in this shloka. Then he says, Savikalpa is divided into two parts. Drushya Shabdanuvedena Savikalpa Punardvidha. This line we are seeing now. Savikalpa, one is called as Drushyanuvidha and second is called as Shabdanuvidha. This we have seen in the 5th verse when we introduced meditation topic. This is where I took it from. So this is a familiar concept, but again now when we see, it will get re-emphasized. So Drushyanuvidha is shifting attention from thoughts to Sakshi. And Shabdanuvidha is owning up nature of Sakshi. Okay, it is not a vague idea about who is this witness of thought. So that clarity we get through Shravanam, and that again we replay in Nididhyasanam. Okay. So this verse is only highlighting what are the different type of Samadhi Abhyasa. So verse number 24, which is going to come now, will talk about Drushyanuvidya Samadhi. Verse number 25 will talk about Shabdanuvidya Samadhi, and verse 26 will talk about Nirvikalpa Samadhi. This is about Samadhi Abhyasa with eyes closed, sitting down in one place. That is this practice. 27, 28, 29 will talk about outer Samadhi. That we will see later. Right now, let us just focus on 24, 25, and 26. So then we'll chant our 24th shloka. This is now Drushyanuvidya Samadhi. Okay, this one. Drushyanuvidya Savikalpa Samadhi. Okay. Kamadhyaschittaga drushyah. कामाद्याश्चित्तगा दृश्याः तत्साक्षित्वेन चेतनम् तत्साक्षित्वेन चेतनम् ध्यायेदृश्यानुविद्धोऽयम् ध्यायेदृश्यानुविद्धोऽयम् समाधिः सविकल्पकः समाधिः सविकल्पकः कामाद्याश्चित्तगा दृश्याः तत्साक्षित्वेन चेतनम् ध्यायेदृश्यानुविद्धोऽयम् समाधिः सविकल्पकः. This verse we should connect it with fourth verse of Dugdusha Viveka. So those of you who want to flip back and flip back, what is the fourth verse? काम संकल्प संदेहौ श्रद्धा श्रद्धे धृति तरे ह्रीर्धीर्भीरित्येवमादीन् भासयत्येकदाचितिः. In different types of thoughts. Kama, thought of desire. Sankalpa, thought of confusion. Should I do this or that? Kama sankalpa sandehau. Shraddha, ashraddha, dhruti, itare. Sankalpa means resolve. Sandeha means doubt. Shraddha is faith. All in all, any thought that can come in the mind. You see the confidence with which this practice is given. We should understand it maturely. Sadhana is done to make sure pure thoughts come. Having done that, still whatever thoughts are coming, this practice is shifting attention from thoughts to the one who is revealing the thoughts. So, kamadhyaha chittagaha drishyaha. So, what is drishya here? Not outer objects. The thoughts themselves are drishya. Drishya means seen. Now, what should I do? Tat sakshitvena chetanam dhyayet. This is the key word. We are not interested in thought. We are interested in the one who is revealing those thoughts. So one of the best way of letting go of thoughts is to kind of ignore them in meditation. Sometimes this storm is so strong that we get discouraged. Will I ever be able to overcome these thoughts? Those who sit down to do meditation, they will realize. So then it is said, develop this practice of shifting attention to consciousness by letting go of that thought. Use all the seer-seen pairs that we have seen before. If something is seen, there has to be a seer, and that seer has to be different from the seen. Like if I see a phone, my eyes, which are the seer, are different from this phone. So if I'm seeing thoughts, the seer has to be different from those thoughts. That is this meditation. Very simple. We don't need a lot of prior knowledge, to come to this point. Some basic knowledge is needed of the seer, seen, pairs, and so on. Okay, dhyayet drushyanuviddhoyam samadhi savikalpakaha. This is called as the first samadhi, drushyanuviddha savikalpa samadhi. So what are we doing in this drushyanuviddha samadhi? Shifting attention from what is revealed to who is the revealer. So revealed is thought, revealer is sakshi. So for example, one thought is there. It could be any thought. Let us say there is a thought about some car, something I saw during the day. What is this kind of unique car that is there? So now if you get caught up with it, then that thought will trigger another thought. I don't know whom that car belongs to. Then you will say another thought, who is the manufacturer? So this we have to see inside us how this chain reaction is taking place. Like Arjuna, what we saw, right? He comes with one vritti, that Veera vritti gets converted into Krupa vritti. That Krupa vritti gets converted into Vishada vritti, means thought of pity and then thought of sorrow. So inside us, this chain reaction keeps taking place. And the only way to break it is to let go of it. So that is where this meditation practice comes. I am not the thought, and neither am I the experiencer of thoughts, means ahankara. That also I am not. Then who am I? I am the unaffected witness, asanga, drashta, sakshi of these thoughts. So from those thoughts, shifting attention to the substratum. And here Triputi is there. That is why Dhyata is also there. Means I know that I am doing this practice of shifting the thoughts, shifting attention from the thoughts. Dhyanam is also there. But what we are interested in is this Chetanam. Okay, that is why it is said, Kamadhyas chittaga drusyaha tat sakshitvena Chetanam dhyayet. Not Vishayan dhyayet or Vrittayah dhyayet. Don't meditate on the thought nor the object of that thought. Okay, that is this meditation. And several thoughts might keep popping up now and then. But gradually, we will get more confidence that we are able to shift our attention quickly. Initially, it will happen after several thoughts. Even if we are trying our best, the chain reaction will keep taking place, and then this mind will come back. But gradually, we'll be able to quickly bring it back. Right the moment you know that it is, it is going to another thought, you say, I'm not interested in this thought. This is Raman Maharshiji's technique also. He would use the word ahankara. Any thought comes, ask to whom it is known. Come to ahankara, but then understand that ahankara appears in atma, consciousness. I am that unaffected consciousness. And it is called drushya anuviddha because it is taking support of drushya, which is thoughts, not outer objects. Eyes are closed, that means only thoughts are there. Taking support of that thought, shifting attention to sakshi. This example we are very familiar with, taking support of an object and shifting attention to something else. Whenever we go to an ophthalmologist, right, what they do is also something similar. They use the scene to shift attention to seer. After putting several lenses on that device that they have, they will ask, is this better or is this better? Is this better or this better? After doing that, they will ask us to read something. There will be a chart, read the first line E, second line F, P, third line. Then you come down, and then some line you don't read it very clearly. The purpose there is not to make us read alphabets. Purpose there is to know how sharp is our eye. What was, that lens, how well it has worked. So what they're doing there is taking support of drushya to shift attention to drashta. Actually, it fits in Drugdrishya Viveka also. The first seer-seen pair is object is outside, eyes are the seer. But in meditation, we are using the third seer-seen pair, using thoughts and shifting attention to consciousness. Our purpose is not to dig into what is the nature of thoughts, not getting dejected about, oh, why did this thought come? That is why look at the confidence with which Vidyaranya Swamiji is giving us this practice. He says, Kamadhyas chittaga drushyaha. Don't worry about what is the nature of thought. Again and again, I'm repeating, don't worry about in meditation. Huh? In sadhana, please do worry. That is where we'll be able to improve the quality of those thoughts. But right now, this practice is having done that, having lived an alert life, shift attention here. This practice of meditation, when we begin, it is exactly like a soccer game. If we are sitting down for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or even 30 minutes, let us say, we'll realize the net amount which we are able to shift attention back to Sakshi, that duration will be hardly 2-3 minutes in the beginning. 2-3 minutes, then we should congratulate ourselves. 10 minutes means great. We have done some accomplishment. It is just to tell us that this is not going to be, a simple thing, a very easy thing to get accomplished. It will take its own time, and we should not lose our enthusiasm. Every day, we should keep reminding ourselves of the benefits of this practice, the greatness of this practice. And gradually, as it starts showing its result, we ourselves should get that confidence. When we are able to see, oh, I'm able to let go of my thoughts easily, then that gives more confidence. And nature of Sakshi is Ananda Swarupa. Even for a little bit of time, mind settles down in this Chaitanya, Brahma. That also gives us more confidence and more interest that we should do this abhyasa. So this soccer game is understanding how thought is getting thrown from one object to another. And with alert lifestyle, disinterest in Vishayas, we'll be able to slow down this soccer game. On one hand, if Vishaya also we are running after, and on another hand, we are trying to slow down our thoughts, both will be conflicting against each other. So having Mahatva Buddhi for a sattvic lifestyle, being very alert about our interactions with the world. So that will help us over here. This is why we saw that portion of Yama Niyamas in the beginning, so that with that background in mind, we are able to benefit from this practice. Okay, so this was that soccer game. Now Vidyaranya Swamiji takes us to the next topic, which is called as Shabdanuviddha Samadhi. Okay, this was the first one that we saw was Drushyanuviddha. Now he is taking us to Shabdanuviddha. Asangas Satchidanandaha Asangas Satchidanandaha Swaprabho Dvaitavarjitaha Swaprabho Dvaitavarjitaha Asmiti Shabda Vidhoyam Asmiti Shabda Vidhoyam Samadhissa Vikalpakaha Samadhissa Vikalpakaha Asangas Satchidanandaha Swaprabho Dvaitavarjitaha Asmiti Shabda Vidhoyam Samadhissa Vikalpakaha. What is this practice now? Asangaha Satchidanandaha Swaprabha Dvaitavarjitaha. Having shifted our attention from thought to the seer of thought, staying at Sakshi, keeping our attention in Sakshi, that is this practice of Shabdanuviddha Samadhi. And what are we doing? What support are we taking? We are taking support of words. Those words are indicators of Sakshi. That is why it is called as Shabdanuviddha Samadhi. Okay, so the words are like Asangaha, Satchidanandaha, Swaprabha, Dvaita Varjitaha. We will see what they are. But sometimes we have this question, should I have a mantra to meditate? Should I remember a lot of shlokas and then I should meditate? Or is there any other way? So this practice is telling us, if our Shravanam is thorough, then even with one word, we can meditate for half an hour, 1 hour. And this we can continue for several days. If we can settle down on one word, our job is done. Imagine if we can get this conviction that I am Asanga. I am unaffected by anything. I as in consciousness. That is, the job is done at that point. And all other words will automatically become clear if one word becomes clear. But our mind also needs variety. Okay, today I meditated on I am Asanga. Then again it will go to the next one. Then it feels, I'm meditating on something else now. So that is also good. We will get more clarity about different facets of our own true nature. But here the most important point is, in Drushyanuvidha, we did not need lot of Shravanam, because it was just shifting attention from any kind of thought to Sakshi. But when it comes to Shabdanuvidha, we need to have clarity about how I am Asanga. Because meditation is not another kind of japa that constantly we keep repeating, I am Asanga, I am Asanga, Asangoham, Asangoham. It is as clear as knowing that color of this background is maroon. With eyes, you use pramana and you know that this is one particular color. Our nature as Asanga should be known in the same way. That much clarity should be there. Now somebody says, this is my first text, Drugdrishya Viveka, and you are saying that we should have this kind of clarity and so on. What should I do? You see, that is why we have other text. So after Drugdrishya Viveka, we'll study another text. That will also cover the same topic. It is not going to tell us anything completely different, but our understanding of these words will start opening up more and more. So Shabdanuvidya Samadhi, in simple words, it is meditating of glory of Sakshi. And how do we do it? Not by forming another objectification, not by having objectification of Sakshi again. Using those other words, we should not start forming an idea that, okay, Sakshi is Asanga, Sakshi is Satchidananda. That is why Vidyaranya Swamiji used the word Asmi. All these words that are there in the first line, that is who I am. And letting go of erroneous notion using those words. So if you want to use the word Asanga, then what does it mean? I as consciousness am unaffected. But I say, I get affected, if there is something that hits the body, or body has modifications, my mind has modifications. You see, that is exactly what we need to negate in meditation. You are not the mind, or I am not the mind, I am not the body. That is what is the purpose of meditation. Again and again we keep identifying back with what we are not. It says, good, have that doubt, but use this word to remove that erroneous notion. Okay, this is Asanga. Next is, I am Satchidananda. Now you see what every word is doing. It is negating erroneous notion which we have included in ourselves. Satchidananda means, first is the word Sat Swarupa. Sat Swarupa means I am never absent. What do I feel? That I will have birth and I have death. Means I was not there at some point. I was born with this body and then I'm going to die one day. So Sat is telling us our nature is of existence itself. There is never a time when we are absent. So that is our meditation. I am never inert means I am always Chaitanya Swarupa. and I am not finite. That is why I am Ananda Swarupa. So one word, just bringing the meaning back while at the seat of meditation. And trying to keep that same thought for an extended period of time. What we'll realize is when this thought comes, right after I say I am Asanga, some other thought has come, which is okay. That is how we will all have, that is the beginning, what we will have. But what we should aim at is to maintain the same thought for a longer period of time. Okay, this is Satchidananda. Swaprabha. I'm taking one word. First one was Asanga, Satchidananda. Now we are seeing Swaprabha. Swaprabha means I do not need any other means of knowledge to know myself. I am ever of the nature of Jnanam. Jnana Swarupa I am. And this Jnana Swarupa only when it gets upadhi of a thought, when it gets conditioned by a thought, then I start knowing things of the world outside. It is the same consciousness. And any knowledge that is happening in this creation is happening because of me alone. Now remember, these sentences, if somebody hears without knowing the context, they'll say, what is he speaking? So when we say I, when we say me, what we are referring to is Chaitanya, not Ahankara, not mind, not the body, not this individual. Okay, that is the word Swaprabha. Dvaita Varjitaha. I am non-dual. If you say Brahma is non-dual, that is Shravanam. Means something else is non-dual. Coming to first person, that is what makes it meditation. I am without Dvaita. And whatever Dvaita is seen, whatever duality is seen, it is an appearance not in Brahma, it is an appearance in me. That me part, Asmi, is what makes the whole difference there. Whether we have owned up the nature of Brahma or not, that clarity we will get when we use that word me. If you say, oh, how can I be without duality? So that means again do Shravanam, again do Mananam, come to the same point. And there is no rush in this. But path should be clear, method should be thorough. Okay, what is the main part here? Whatever erroneous notions we have about ourselves, that we are negating using each word. It doesn't matter how many words we use. What matters is how deep we can go, how deep we can own up each word for ourselves. Okay, this is the second meditation, which is Shabdanuviddha. Having shifted attention to Sakshi, now meditate on glory of that Sakshi. Remove all erroneous notions in the light of these words and stay there in the nature of Sakshi. So these were some additional points what we just covered, that reflecting on meaning of that word, it is not mere repetition. We cannot just repeat, I am Asanga, I am Swaprabha, I am Satchidananda. It is not a japa mantra. Japa has its own purpose. This practice is more on emphasizing on the meaning of it. Okay, that is called as Shabdanuviddha. Now Vidyaranya Swamiji takes us to the next one, which is called as Nirvikalpa Samadhi, that we will see. Swanubhutirasaveshad Drushya Shabdavupekshatu Drushya Shabdavupekshatu Nirvikalpas Samadhisyat Nirvikalpas Samadhisyat Nivatasthitadipavat Nivatasthitadipavat Swanubhutirasaveshat Drushya Shabdavupekshatu Nirvikalpas Samadhisyat Nivatasthitadipavat. So Nirvikalpa Samadhi, he says, is after doing this practice of Savikalpa for sufficient period of time, for a long duration, the mind naturally flows with that practice. And that is when even this meditation, that perception also does not remain. It is called as rasa avesha, swanubhuti rasa aveshat. That is why I said this experience of nirvikalpa samadhi is seen even in other places, wherever there is rasa avesha. Music is also one rasa. That is why music example is very apt in this nirvikalpa samadhi. When that rasa becomes so predominant that we forget ourselves. But here, that object is not any other object of the world, it is Chaitanya, Brahma. And what we are doing here, Drushya Shabdavupekshatu, then the seeker is not taking the support of name or that Drushya. That thought is also not taken as support, neither is a word needed for support. This is called as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi Syat Nivata Sthita Deepavat. It is like that flame of a lamp, which is in an environment without any wind. Very steady flame. That is called as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So Nirvikalpa Samadhi is a mature stage of Savikalpa Samadhi. This Rasa Avesha, we cannot force ourselves to have that Rasa Avesha. Just like music also, right? The first day we go and listen to some music, we cannot say, I should get absorbed in this music. We cannot force ourselves into it. All that we can do is increase our importance to it, increase our devotion towards that subject, and constantly keep practicing, recognize, the fine, smaller details in that music. Then one day, that Rasa Avesha happens. In the same way, meditation also, we cannot practice Nirvikalpa Samadhi. All that we can practice is Savikalpa Samadhi and sincerely do that practice. We don't have to worry too much about Nirvikalpa also. So the example given is going up a hill, it is Savikalpa. There is a lot of effort needed. You push the cart up a hill. So the seeker goes through a lot of ups and downs while doing this practice of Savikalpa Samadhi. But a stage comes when this mind has very well settled in Sakshi, and there is no other thoughts which are coming. There are no other thoughts which are coming to disturb this mind now. So then comes Nirvikalpa stage, which is effortless. It naturally stays in that stage. And when the seeker gets up from that stage, it gives a stronger conviction that Ananda is my own true nature. This we should see even in our daily experience. When we get up from a good night's sleep, or any time we have a good sleep, right? Pay very close attention to the depth of that Ananda, the depth of that happiness that we get right after waking up. It is much more than any Vishayananda, much more than any happiness which is gained through objects. So this gives a stronger conviction and it creates new samskaras in the mind. Now the seeker, whenever he gets a chance, he wants to go and sit by himself. And even during Vyavahara, if knowledge has clearly taken place that I am Asanga all the time, then the seeker can stay in that mode even while in Vyavahara. Okay, so this is that Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And the main point there is no perception of triad. So Atma is not Savikalpa or Atma is ever Nirvikalpa. But the practice of this meditation, there is a time when there is no perception of this triad, which is called as Nirvikalpa. Okay, so we'll pause here. Before we conclude, I'll give some food for thought. I thought I will take another topic, but this topic we will take later. Okay, it will take some time. These questions you can think about throughout this week, and when we meet next week, we'll pick up from here. Okay, does meditation give liberation or not? Based on whatever you have heard so far. Is doing Shravanam theory and meditation practical? Okay, second question. And third one is, what is the purpose of meditation? All right, so I will leave this for a few seconds. We'll do our concluding prayer. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. I hope you all have noted this one. I'll turn off my screen share. All right, there were some questions that were submitted on the form. I'll take some of them right now. Actually, I wanted to show this during the class, but I think the question is a great time to do this. Puja Guruji has written beautiful commentary in the entire text, but in particular, these particular verses. So whenever you get a chance, just glance through them and reflect on certain portions. So the question here is, in Vyavahara, how can we have 100% focus in our daily transactions while also being in the state of Samadhi? So actually speaking, elaboration of this will come from 27th shloka. Okay, there Vidyaranya Swamiji will explain what he means by Samadhi with eyes open during our interactions and everything. But Guruji has nicely explained in one portion. So there are different versions of the book. So I'm sure the page numbers will be different. If you come to the 22nd verse, and in my book it is page number 95 of the commentary. 22nd verse is on page 92, but the commentary I am wanting to point out is on page 95. Okay, so that paragraph, Guruji says, I'll read it out. So even if you didn't find it, you can refer to it later. He says, Samadhi is the alert, steady, and poised state of mind abiding in its true nature. It's a state of mind which is abiding in its true nature. Assuming a pose or posture does not guarantee this poise. One can only be alert to be alert. This attentiveness can be maintained irrespective of the activity one undertakes. This is the answer to this question. Attentiveness can be maintained irrespective of the activity one undertakes, the emotions one feels, and the thoughts one entertains. Hence, it is said, meditation should be practiced all the time. Basically, what we are trying to say here is, doing meditation during our day does not mean mindfulness. It's a different practice. Being very alert about what we are eating, what we are doing, that is important. That's a great practice. But that is not what this meditation is about. This meditation is about knowledge. It is about knowing the fact that even while I am interacting with the world, I am ever unaffected. If I want to be efficient in the world outside, then I have to be mindful. I have to train my ahankara in such a way that it is doing only one thing at a time. Vedantic meditation is to shift attention to seer of that ahankara, seer of that mind, which is ever the same in all transactions. So with this knowledge, we are able to shift our attention. This example we saw in the last class, how can I be in space all the time? By knowing that I am ever in space. If I forget this fact, and let us say sometime I am trying to search for space, then what do I have to do? Just give myself a reminder that I am in space all the time. Now this was example, huh? What we should bring back is to Darshtanta. Means if I forget this fact that I am Chaitanya, I am consciousness, whatever objects are there in the world, with that, I'm able to shift attention back to Chaitanya. Object is there, where did it come from? Right? Either take Pancha Mahabhutas, it has come from 5 elements. Where did 5 elements come from? Space, air, fire, water, earth. Go back all the way to space and then say space has come from Atma. That is who I am. Or use another simpler method. Any object is known only when there is a thought. If there is no thought, no object is recognized. And where does thought appear? Thought appears in consciousness. So entire world is appearing in consciousness, which is my true nature. So the main point here was we should not mix up with the mindfulness meditation and Vedantic meditation. In mindfulness meditation, we are focusing. Now, I don't know the conventional meaning of that, huh? Don't mix up with the terminologies also. Basically, what the question asks is 100% focus in our daily transactions. That is role of ahankara. Atma never focuses, neither Atma loses focus. It is nirvikara, right? It doesn't have any modification. Ahankara we can train to remain focused and stay on that point. Secondarily, if you want to see, what will happen is if we are able to let go of thoughts easily, then we'll be able to focus attention on what we want to do in an easier way. Otherwise, thoughts are so bothering that we want to do something, but mind is going here, mind is going there, so many places. So with this practice of meditation, we are able to let go of thoughts easily, and secondary benefit of it is we are able to focus more on things. Okay. All right. So second question is also similar. It's saying about, I had mentioned in the class that one should meditate in the heart and also while transacting in the world. Does meditating in the heart mean to sit and actually practice meditation? Yes. So what Vidyananda Swamiji means Hrudi is that practice of sitting in one place and doing this meditation. What does it mean to meditate while transacting in the world? That will come later in the 27th verse. If you want a simple pointer towards that is same topic what we saw. Upeksha nama rupe dve satchidananda tatparaha. Whenever we are seeing objects in the world, taking some time to shift attention from objects to substratum of that object. That is meditation with eyes open. How to do it? What we just discussed. Either use Panchamahabhuta method or use thoughts, use whatever method it takes, but come to this conviction that creation is appearing in consciousness. That is meditation with eyes open. How can we practice Savikalpa Samadhi with Bhakti perspective? Savikalpa Samadhi with Bhakti perspective is called as Dharana or Dhyana. This topic is elaborated in Bhagavatam, especially in second canto of Bhagavatam. Lot of meditation practices are given, and those practices in Bhagavatam are called as Dharana and Dhyana. So we should not confuse it with Savikalpa Samadhi. It has its own power and advantage. Because what we are interested in Savikalpa Samadhi is to abide in our true nature. It is not to get any other benefit from this practice. So from a bhakti perspective, what is called as dharana and dhyana is taking virata form of Bhagwan and focusing our mind on that virata form. Virata form means what? This entire creation is Bhagwan's body. And I am part of that virata. Just this much we have to do. You know, there is this totality. Even thinking about virata gives lot of joy. There is this consciousness which is pervading across this entire creation. And that same consciousness is illumining my thoughts. So with dharana, what we are able to do is focus our mind in one portion and also meditate upon that particular aspect of Bhagwan. Another meditation that is given in Bhagavatam is meditating on Saguna form of Bhagwan. Right? Taking a beautiful picture, Lord Shiva, and closing our eyes and just bringing that same form back in front of our eyes. That is called as dharana. Means our mind is able to stay in one particular form for an extended period of time. So the purpose of that meditation is different. That is to make the mind single pointed, make the mind quieter, and also make our personality more expansive. When we think about virata, totality, and say, I am part of that totality, then our mind becomes more accepting. Okay, that is this practice. Can you please explain the word asmi from shloka 25? Asmi means I am. The word was asanga satchidanandaha swaprabho dvaita varjitaha. Asmi. So I'm not keeping it at third person anymore. I'm bringing it to first person. That is the fundamental concept of meditation, Vedantic meditation. Whichever words that we use, they are brought back to first person. And if you are not comfortable with it, let us say if you use a word, I am the substratum of this creation. Now you say, how can I be the substratum of this creation? So which is okay, we have to again go back and do Shravanam. Whether we get this fact in 5 months, 5 years, 50 texts, or 5 janmas, 50 janmas, whatever janmas it takes, we have to come back to the same point. Vedanta does not change with time. You know, it is not that Vedanta in Satya Yuga was different, Dwapar Yuga was different, Treta Yuga was different, and Kali Yuga is different. No, it is the same. Kalpa Kalpa also it changes, but Vedanta remains the same. That is the thoroughness of this knowledge, and that is the whole purpose why we study several other texts. Right? Different things get clearer in different places. Okay. So if there are any other questions, you can submit it on the form, and you can reflect on those 3 questions that we just saw today. Okay. Wish you all again a very happy Sankranti and happy Pongal to all of you. Hari Om. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.